So the actual structural physical pressure,
Easy
you're
for you
in
to
the
say.
space. I've now got to the stage that every interaction matters to me. Every career step matters to me. Every knowledge that I acquire actively matters to me. Every person, organization that I associate with matters to me.
So you're so intentional.
Because I have had to be very intentional now.
Welcome to the Deep Sea Dive, a place where we talk all things coaching, culture, communications, and what is our third C? Fourth C, it's change. Third C can't count.
Who gave her this job?
You gave me this job.
Oh, I did.
You told me to do this. I've never done it before and I didn't have a rehearsal. I thought that was pretty good. Today, we are back with our second guest of the new format podcast, Are We Not? And drumroll, please. Who do we have? Drum-rolling herself, introducing
right is
Brandie Deignan. Is that correct? Have I pronounced your last name correctly?
Deignan. The G is silent.
Yeah. The silent G.
Can't introduce the podcast. I don't know our guest name. It's going very well.
The only way is up from here. This is exciting. What a cool room you've got here.
I know, and you got the pink memo, which I did not get today.
You missed the memo.
No, I also missed the coconut milk memo and the Sharpie memo, so I'm rocking and rolling this Monday.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all good. So Brandie is the CEO of Pier Health, which is a primary care network. And why is Brandie here? Well, Brandie and I go back a long way. 6 years ago, I had the pleasure of interviewing her at one of the conferences I was chairing when she was MD at Marco Pierre White.
Uh-huh.
And we then, over the kind of subsequent years, kind of had a little bit of a LinkedIn love-in. I'd like her post, she'd like my post. We'd put little comments on.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember.
Girl crush.
I remember honestly, it was
on.
I got a girl crush. So it was because you would say to me, that really cool Brandie is like my post again.
And so then I plucked up the courage to, I DM'd her and
I basically said, could you just message her and get it out of your system?
asked her on a little online date with me.
We did, and it was brilliant.
And then all of the kind of the chemistry and energy that we were feeling through LinkedIn was realised. Little invisible string over those 5 years, led us together. And here you are, our second guest. So welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. And I fall in love with both of you. So it's a bit like a sandwich now.
I feel like I'm just here to temper the chemistry, quite frankly.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks so much for coming along. We've got a lot to talk about. So this is actually going to be a two-parter. Because when I first had the privilege of sitting down and chatting to you, we had and I knew you knew this anyway, right? You knew this anyway, but I thought there's so much in this. We're not going to squeeze it into one episode, so we've invited you along to do a kind of a double header, and we've got quite a bit to get into. So if you don't mind, we'll get going.
Let's get going then.
So we always start with the question of who are you, and what brought you to where you are now? So you can interpret that however you wish.
Who am I and what brought me to where I am? Well, let's just start with identities, because this is really cool. So I am African Caribbean by heritage. I am British by citizenship. I am Irish by marriage. And I am Norwegian by birth. So there you go. That kind of sums me up.
Norwegian by birth.
Absolutely. So a cocktail of different identities, which is really important, because we'll touch on some of these as we go along. So really important. So yes, currently I work in the NHS in primary care, chief exec. I've been doing what I do for about 5 years now, which is very exciting. But I haven't always been in health and in primary care. So as Lottie touched on, I was in hospitality. Hospitality was my first love. I had a Saturday job when I was 16. I had a Saturday job in hospitality throughout university. I actually had 2 jobs. I had a job at Edinburgh, where I was at university at Edinburgh Uni with Hilton, and I had one in London where I lived. And so school, uni days, I'd have my job. And when I came home, I'll have my job again in a Hilton in Park Lane. So
Wow.
So I grew up in hospitality, always thought I was going to do hospitality forever. Got my first job. Actually, my first role was very accidental. I had finished uni and I was getting a lot of pressure from my dad around, go and get yourself a proper job.
Proper dad vibes.
Dad vibes. Go and get yourself a job.
Proper job.
And having, I had actually done the whole 4 years at Edinburgh and stayed on another year because I didn't want to come home. I just wanted to just keep staying there. But then I had to get a job. So I was going upstairs to go and get some more hours. And then I met this lovely gentleman called Grant Hearn. At that time, he was the HR director at Hilton. And he said, hey, Brandie, I hear you finished uni. What's next? And I said, well, I'm going to get some hours, but I'm going to get a proper job, I'm not going to be working in hospitality. And then he gave me a little gentle touch there. Okay? How about you join the graduate scheme of Hilton? And when you find a proper job, you can actually leave Hilton. I thought, what a smart man. And I stayed.
He was just reeling you in, wasn't he?
I thought he was brilliant. And of course, I ended up staying in Hilton for about 17 years. Didn't go anywhere. Then moved from hospitality, and I've worked in hospitality, aviation, retail, and then now healthcare. So very sector agnostic.
Yeah. And we'll come back to that because that's something that's been very deliberate in your career, isn't it? That deliberately choosing not to stick in one sector.
Absolutely, yes.
And I think you have a book, is that right?
I do. Sector agnostic, just shameless plug, the sector agnostic leadership framework, pivoting in heels. But the pivoting in heels is really important.
Okay. And again, we'll come back to the pivoting in heels and the sector agnostic. So I heard then a link between you and our last guest. She says, making a bit of a tangent, kind of a forced link, but this idea of somebody very early in your career when you're not quite certain of which direction you want to go in, who's sort of, like you say, given you a metaphorical or a literal tap on the shoulder and said, what about? And said, was that your first role model?
Grant was my what about. He actually retired recently, maybe about 2-3 years ago, and I was just in awe of him. He navigated me, he triaged me, he gave me the nudge that I needed. I don't know if I would have done anything different if he hadn't told me. I genuinely thought, oh, what is he on about? I'm just going to try it anyway, and I'm not going to stay in hospitality. I'm going to do something else. But actually the Hilton graduate scheme, and I was the first cohort, so it was just amazing. It was brilliant. And so he really navigated me when I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do. So he was a very gentle, silent role model for me who just triaged me to where I needed to start.
I love that phrase, triage. Like he's kind of done a quiet assessment in your own good and kind of guided you through the path that's best for you. That's what I heard from that. Is that right?
Absolutely. That is absolutely right. So
that's lovely.
He may or may not have known that he was actually navigating me to start something, but he did.
Yeah, and actually that's a really interesting point because there are different types of role models, aren't there? And it's really good to kind of explore those kind of different, from John Amichi's version of a role model. He's got a brilliant book called The Promises of Giants. It talks about the weight of expectation of leaders in terms of how they role model. But then there are other types of role models as well, aren't there? The accidental or silent role models and active role models. Which of those role models do you identify most with?
For starters, can I just say that we're all role models. And this is the beauty about role modeling. Yeah. We're all role models because I think there are about 3 types. I think there are the unknown role models. So they don't know their role models. We don't know their role models. They're very silent. They're going about their normal duties. But there are people really propelling them up and looking at them and thinking, oh, I want to be my role model. And that is probably the most interesting place to be. And that's where I kind of maybe find myself. Then there are the known role models. And we all have them, right? They shape us. Their influence makes us do things we don't want to do. Mine is Michelle Obama. They are normally big names. They are known. We know. They know they're role models. Wow. I mean, fancy knowing your role model. You do things very deliberately and intentionally which is brilliant.
She kind of chose that. Do you think she stepped into that with taking that role? She didn't want to become First Lady, but she did then choose to, well, if I'm here, I may as well be a really blinking good role model. That's the sense I get from her. I don't know if
Do you know, I think she was always an unknown role model, where I do believe that before she became First Lady, there must have been people in her law firm or wherever they used to look at her to go, oh, I want to be like her. Yeah, she's that kind of person. Yeah. And then, to your point, she steps into that role and she goes, right, okay, I'm going to do this slightly differently. Yeah. And she's got an army of people all wanting to do what she does, listen to her, get influenced by her. And then, of course, there are the next what I call next generational role models who, you know, we all have them in our families and our friendship. They're like 14, but you think, God, if I was younger, I'd like to be like you know, that little girl who speaks, and you think, gosh, but you're only 5. Mm-hmm. And they are our next generational role models. And this is where, for me, reverse mentoring is really effective, because we have younger people, and I have them in my life who are serious role models. They just haven't got what society deems as maturity to go with it, but they are shaping role modeling.
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot, actually, when we're speaking with leaders about how they can get the most out of Generation Z, for example. Yeah. Reverse mentoring is a really important way. So, you know, it's a very good way to kind of understand what makes that generation tick, as well as really using their kind of unique set of skills to enhance organisations.
I quite like the age-neutral approach you've taken to it as well, right? This idea of a role model can come from anywhere. You can inspired by or find something inspiring in. Yeah. Almost anybody from any background, age, you know, kind of whatever they may look like, feel like. And I really like that. I think that really resonates. And it is very, we get quite annoyed about the Gen Z kind of baggage around that, attention around it, right? This idea of like, what do they know? You know, you're too young to know everything.
Every generation do that. Like.
We always do, don't we? And this kind of idea, I think, particularly when we were growing up, a role model was, you know, an old white man, probably. Weren't they? Yes. You know, you think about who's a role model.
It was set, wasn't it? It was kind of set. That's whereas actually now, it's not so much.
I love that. I love that. So you said there's different kinds of role model. I think you've probably done quite a bit of thinking about this. And the first time that I'd really thought about it was when we spoke to you, and this idea of sort of those very deliberate kinds and, like I say, the lovely unexpected kinds. But can you tell us a bit more about the unknown? Because you said that's where you feel you sit.
Yeah. I think that comes from the setting that you're in, the environment that you're in. And so I have found in all the environments that I've been in to be the only person. So be it within Marco Pier White Restaurants, where I was the first MD in the UK for branded restaurants. I didn't plan it. I just ended up there and then realized I was the only one. And so, of course, the generations above me and behind me would look at that and think, hey, if she's doing it, we can as well. But of course, it was unknown to me. I was just doing my stuff. I found it by moving sectors where you're brave enough, brave quote unquote, to move from sector to sector. And there's generations before and behind you thinking, gosh, I wish we could just rock up in the sector and carry on. So again, people start really taking interest in what you do without realizing. So it's all been very accidental, and it's still unknown to me, but it becomes very present and very real when I do a lot with the next generation, with schools, with universities. You know, when you go and you start talking, and then you realize, hey, you know, you are an unknown role model, or you go into spaces that people around perhaps don't look or sound like you, and then you realize you are becoming an unknown role model. So it's not been intentional, but here it is. I found myself in the role, and so it's really important that I leave a shadow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what John Amici would say. Yeah, leave the shadow, the promise of giant. And is it unintentional, intentional pressure now in being this role model? How do you work with that?
That's deep. There's a lot of pressure. And it's not pressure anyone puts on you, by the way. It's self-enhanced, self-made, self-baked pressure. There is the emotional pressure, and then there's the actual structural physical pressure. So the actual structural physical pressure, you're in the space. You're in the space. So you're sat there and you're looking around you and you're the only female. You're looking around you and you're the only person of color. You're looking around you and you have a different ethnicity. You're looking around you and you're the only one that probably doesn't understand the sector. Everybody else does. So it comes in different tapestries. So that's the structural part of it. And then there's the emotional part where you've just spoken at a conference of, 4,000 people and you've just braked yourself to finish it up and you're going into the loo to just breathe. And then somebody comes up to you to go, I really like that. I want to be like you. Do you want to talk to me about how I get there?
And what do you say?
You actually pause there and you sit and you hear them.
Yeah.
It's so hard their story. Though, isn't it? I've been in that position. I've been in that position when I did a proper job. Yeah. And I came off stage at a conference and there was a young woman, probably I think late 20s, something like that, who said, listen to me talk about a big transformation project. And she said, how do I do that? And she completely caught me off guard, Brandie, completely caught me off guard. And to this day, I still have guilt about the way that I responded to her because I was so flippant. Yeah. I was so flippant. I didn't realise the weight of what that interaction was really about. And again, that's that unknown role model. And I kind of want to unpack what you mean by that in a bit more detail in a minute. But there's a real, you're holding something very precious there. And as you just said, your job is to listen and step back and pause. And I was a bit of a knob. I just went, oh, you don't want to do what I do, and ran off to the loo. I think it's worth just really unpacking what you mean by an unknown, because it's implicit between us. But this unknown role model, it's people see you as a role model. They're looking at you in different ways. Maybe not obviously, maybe not kind of, badged as a role model, but there are people looking at you and taking a lead from what you do. You didn't set out to do that, and you may not have chosen to do it or feel entirely comfortable doing it. Is that correct? Is there any more?
Absolutely correct.
Yeah. And there are more of us that feel this way, that are that, than we realise.
Loads of us.
Yeah.
And until you put yourself out there and people, to your point, the lady that came to you, you don't really realise that there is a lot of following. Social media has been brilliant now because someone can just come to you on LinkedIn to go, hey, I've been following you for 15 odd years and can I have a coffee with you or whatever. But there could be moments that you do this and not realise that you are doing it, which is, I think, the scary but interesting part.
It's exposing.
It is. And nerve-wracking when you get to know. There is that whole emotional piece around once you get to know it, how do you carry yourself? So I've now got to the stage that every interaction matters to me. Every career step matters to me. Every knowledge that I acquire actively matters to me. Every person, organisation that I associate with matters to me.
So you're so intentional.
Because I have had to be very intentional now.
Yeah.
Because my unknown has got that undergirding of intentionality now, because there is I guess there's a little bit of shadow around the known unknown.
So it's a known unknown now.
A light known unknown.
We got told we can say unknown in this podcast.
I'm just putting it in because we got told off for talking. It was using the known unknowns quote the other day. So I kind of just because it's a Donald Rumsfeld quote, unknown unknowns. So this idea of you start off becoming you don't know you're a role model, and people aren't necessarily articulating that openly to you, but there are moments when you realise, oh, I'm in the spotlight.
Correct.
I better behave as if I'm in the spotlight.
Yes.
That's pressure in that.
That is pressurized.
Yeah.
And I think that you start off from a space of feeling the pressure to a space of, okay, what do I do? Do I carry myself out in this pressure zone, or do I actively set out to make an impact? So I've moved from the pressure part to impact now, so that again, everything I do has got to have impact, because now I kind of know a little bit around what people are expecting, what people need to know. And to your point, that whole being ready to be paused and stopped and had that conversation.
And I think once you as a role model kind of acknowledge that and acknowledge the impact and step into your power, right, I think it probably becomes an incredibly fulfilling role.
It does indeed.
Yeah.
Because suddenly there is productivity at the end of it. You know, you're doing something and that person is going to take it away and then do something. And you watch them from afar. And
you watch them grow, and that's so satisfying.
Correct.
Do you know what? We amazingly have managed to talk for all the time we've got available.
Stop it. I've got 27,000 other things I want to talk to Brandie about.
Luckily,
none of them are written on this bit of paper.
This is just part 1 of 2.
So I
want to explore. There's so much more I want to explore. There's that beautiful thing that you've said on your LinkedIn profile, that the difference is your superpower. I really want to talk about that, kind of the weight of being sort of the other, and how you use that to your advantage, you know, and I guess how you kind of use some of that to great effect during your amazing career journey today. So I'd like to say, let's just wrap up here, and then let's start to explore all of that in part 2, if that's okay.
We absolutely can. Oh my goodness, how did that time fly?
Thank you.
Right, we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thanks so much.